Now we come to the second part of the chapter, and that is development of resource. Till now we have seen resources can be classified. Now we talk about development of resource. How can resource be developed and why it should be developed? Resources should be developed because they are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. Now it was believed that resources are free gifts of nature. And so human beings started using it indiscriminately. Indiscriminately means without any discrimination. And what will be the result of it? The result will be depletion of resources. So it led to depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals. Second, there was accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, rich and poor, or haves and have nots. The indiscriminate exploitation of resources also led to global ecological crisis. And by now we understand global economic crisis because of the COVID and health crisis. Similarly, if there is over exploitation of resources, it can lead to global ecological crisis. One such thing is global warming, and we are already seeing symptoms of it. What will happen in this? The rainfall duration, say in India in general, is for 4 months. It will come down to 2. So there can be floods in the beginning. And later on there will be drought conditions. Ozone layer depletions. If that happens, then the number of cancer patients will increase. Environmental pollution and land degradation. So all these are ill effects. Reason behind that is indiscriminate exploitation of resources. Now what will be the question on this? The question is, what are the problems due to indiscriminate exploitation of resources? Now, what is the solution? The solution is sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Sustainable development means development of resources, but at the same time taking care or taking into account the well-being of the future generation. So it means development should take place without damaging the environment, and the development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. For that we require resource planning. Now why do we need resource planning? We need resource planning because there are some regions which have sufficient amount of resources. Say for example Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. Now these states are rich in agriculture. Similarly, if I take Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, these are rich in minerals. Similarly, if I come down, Karnataka is rich in coffee, even granite. Then Assam, we all know, is for tea. And in South India, Kerala is for spices, rubber. Maharashtra is for sugarcane and cotton. Now they are self-sufficient in certain resources, but it does not mean they are self-sufficient in all the resources. Similarly, there are some regions which have acute shortage of vital resources. So they have to take it from other states. This is one reason why resource planning is needed. Similarly, whatever resources are available in their areas in the form of nature, they need to be processed as we have seen earlier. Again, for processing it into a final product which people can use, a planning structure is required. That is the importance of planning. For the development, there is a need of resource. Now a question, is availability of resource a necessary condition for the development of any region? You may say yes. The answer is right as well as wrong. Because if resources are there, if raw material is there, then easily it can be converted into finished goods and utilized. But if I take the example of Japan, Japan is not rich in minerals, but it is rich in technology. What it does is buys raw material, converts it into finished goods, and then sells it back. So availability of resource is not a necessary condition for the development of any region, but if it is there, it is good. Resource planning involves identification and inventory of resources. Means first of all, identify the resource and take an account of it. How much resource and of what quality it is available. And this involves surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of resource. Second is evolving a planning structure. Because without a planning structure, nothing is possible. A planning structure means, say we take an example of a school. And a school has a planning structure. It has a timetable, and the students are allotted their respective classrooms. The teachers are given timetable, and it runs systematically. The reason is there is a planning structure. Similarly, for the management of the nation also, we require a planning structure. Similarly, for evolving the resources, for the development of resources also, we require a planning structure. Then it is matching the resource development plans with overall national development plans. That means, say I develop roads in the local area. They are connected to the state highways and state highways to the national highways. So whatever development happens in the local area in terms of roads actually helps national development plans. This was just one example. So for this, we must be endowed with appropriate technology, skill, as well as institutional setups. So question on this topic will be, what steps are involved in resource planning? Now we talk about conservation of resources. Conservation does not mean saving the resource. Conservation actually means a wise management of the resource. It actually means using resources with discrimination. So resources are vital for any developmental activities, which we have already seen. But irrational consumption and overutilization of resources will lead to social as well as economic and environmental problems. And to overcome these problems, resource conservation at different levels is important. Gandhiji once said that there is enough for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed. The land resources in our country can be broadly classified as: one is mountainous areas. Mountains cover 30% of the land in India. The next one is the plateau areas. When it comes to plateau areas cover relatively a smaller area, and that is 27%. Then there is plains. When it comes to plains, it is 43%. And plains include coastal plains as well as North Indian plains. Now, among the various uses of land, the first one is the forest. Now, as per the National Forest Policy, which was developed in 1952, it is said that 33% of the land should be under forest. But because of deforestation, today we have around 21% of the land under forest, which is a matter of great concern. Then it is land not available for cultivation. When I say land not available for cultivation, we have barren and wasteland. What do we understand by these? Barren and wastelands are lands which includes rocky and arid. Arid means dry areas and even desert areas, which we will find mainly in the northwestern part of the country in the name of Western Rajasthan and parts of Madhya Pradesh. Then we have land that is put to non-agricultural uses. This is in the form of buildings, roads, factories, etc. Then it is other uncultivated land. In this comes permanent pastures. I said earlier, pasture means grazing grounds. Grazing grounds are places where animals go and eat grass. So, other uncultivated land, the first one is permanent pastures and grazing land. Second, land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves. Groves also are trees. Then it is culturable wasteland. Means land which can be cultivated, but right now it is not cultivated. Such land come under this category. Then it is fallow land. So what is fallow land? Fallow land means land which has lost its fertility and farmer gives it a rest in order to regain the fertility of the land. He will be adding organic fertilizer, nothing else, and giving it rest. So this can happen for 1 year, then it is current fallow land. So what is current fallow land? Land which is left without cultivation for 1 or less than 1 agricultural year will be current fallow land. Then there is other than current fallow land. Here it is the land is left uncultivated for 1 to 5 years. When it is 5 years, the reason can also be lack of availability of water, or sometimes it can be waterlogging. So what is net sown area? One is the actual available land for cultivation, but in that some areas are left uncultivated. So actual land which is utilized for cultivation of crops will come in the category of net sown area. The net sown area in India is around 54%. Means half of the land in India is used for cultivation. Now the pattern of net sown areas varies from one state to another. Because if you take on one hand Punjab and Haryana, they have 80% of the land. But the northeastern states like Arunachal Pradesh, then Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and even Andaman and Nicobar, it is less than 10%. So from one state to another state, it will vary. On the top is Punjab and Haryana, and on the lower end, we have the northeastern states. Now, the question on this will be, what are the different forms of land utilization? Where you will be writing everything. First one is forest. Second one is land not available for cultivation. Then it is other uncultivated land. Then it is fallow lands and net sown area. So this is the end of part 2.